Greetings and salutations. I am Poetic Heretic, here with another terrifying tale about an encounter with a shadow man. The author is anonymous. Throughout my life, I have had 3 experiences with the entity that I have come to call the Shadow Man. He lurks in my nightmares and is always in the back of my mind when I am in the dark. My first experience was when I was 8. I have always been a poor sleeper, and this night was no different. Around 2 in the morning, I realized that I needed to go to the bathroom. I slipped out of my bed and tiptoed to the washroom, hoping not to wake anyone as I passed by their doors. When I reached the bathroom, I was confronted by a tall figure shrouded by darkness. I was shocked, but I could not seem to utter a single noise. I just stood there. The figure was clearly that of a man, but no features were distinguishable. He reached out his hand, and with a long, slender finger he began to beckon me towards him. I could not move. I tried to see if I could recognize a face. Maybe it was my father up for a late-night whiz. The figure said nothing. It only beckoned. After some time I worked up the nerve to turn on the light. With the flip of a switch, the figure was gone. I remember fleeing to my parents' room, crying that I had seen a monster, only to be hushed and told that the dark was playing tricks on me. Maybe it was? 4 years later, we visited my great-uncle's farm. It was no longer a functional farm, but my brother and I used to like to go and play in the old hayloft and search for the skeletons of long-dead cats. A morbid hobby, maybe, but it certainly seemed fun at the time. After a long day of playing in the hayloft, we were getting ready to leave. It was late afternoon, and my parents were eager to get home for supper. As we were leaving, I looked back at the barn. In the highest window, at the top of the old building, I could make out the figure of a man. No discernible features, just a shadowy figure. I felt like he was looking directly at me. There was movement. He was beckoning. Fear slithered up my spine. I knew that for a person to be standing in front of that window, there would need to be a surface for them to stand on. I knew the ins and outs of that barn, and I knew there was no floor in front of that window. Whoever it was had to have been hovering there on thin air. I kept this to myself. I knew my parents would not believe me, and I was not sure if I believed it myself. About 2 years ago, I had my most recent experience with the Shadow Man. As I had mentioned before, I am a poor sleeper. As I got older, I started to develop sleep paralysis. I would feel like my body was finally starting to drift off, then some overwhelming terror would come over me and I would try to move or scream, but was unable to do either. I was conscious, but temporarily trapped in my own body. I would get these sensations from time to time. They would frighten me, but I knew it was just my silly brain toying with me. Until that night. It was late. I was lying in bed, hoping to drift off soon. I could feel the sleep begin to creep up my limbs. My breathing was becoming regular and restful. My eyes were getting heavy. The numbness of sleep was finally starting to envelop me. As my eyes begin to flutter before retiring for the night, I see him, standing at the foot of my bed, staring at me. I cannot see his eyes, but I know he is looking at me. I try to move, to shake myself into wakefulness, but the sleep paralysis has taken over. I am aware of my surroundings, but unable to do anything. He begins to crawl up my bed toward me. I can feel the pressure, but I cannot move. I try to scream. I try to escape, but I am frozen. His face is soon inches from mine. I stare into nothingness. The outline of a face is there, but no features. I cannot get away. My heart is racing. I feel sick to my stomach. I urge myself to get out of my paralytic state. I shoot up from my bed and he is gone. I look around my room. I must have been dreaming. That could not have been real. I settle myself back down. My tired mind must have been playing tricks on me. I lay down in my bed. I was okay. I felt the odd sensation that someone was in my room, but I chalked that up to the nightmarish experience. I started to feel sleep take over my body again. Just as my body is ready to submit to my overwhelming exhaustion, I hear it. The rocking chair in the corner of my room, rocking back and forth, back and forth. He's back. That concludes this terrifying tale. Don't forget to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.